What do you have to do to lose your job in this government? Murder somebody? Be Malcolm Turnbull? Try to make the mining industry pay tax like Kevin Rudd did? Join the Greens? The case for a federal ICAC, an anti-corruption commission, has never been stronger. We've seen sports rorts, community grants rorts, politicians getting Rolex watches from the Chinese. We've seen all manner of travel rorts. RAF flights to Liberal Party fundraisers, even helicopters. We've seen water rorts, we've seen grass rorts. You can check all these out. We've got a compendium of rorts over the past 7 or 8 years. It's called QED and it's on the website. And there's 90 odd rorts there. Bushfire rorts, all sorts of rorts. What do you have to do to lose your job in this government? The very latest, Andrew Laming, Liberal MP. What's he done, Laming? He's been involved in a printing scandal. He's been fighting with homeless charities online, racially derogatory comments.
Deny it's Australia Day. That'll help petrol sniffing and school attendance in remote Australia.
Hiding in bushes to photograph and harass a woman. And now, the latest, taking a photograph of an unsuspecting woman who was bending over with her underwear exposed at work. So now, with police looking into these allegations, what is Andrew Laming facing? He's agreed to do some empathy training and he said that he won't contest the next election, but he will remain part of the government of Scott Morrison, collecting a full salary until he stands down. With all the chaos that's befallen this government in recent months, Laming is a particularly critical number to lose. He is the majority for the coalition. They can't afford to lose his vote. So he's protected to a certain point. But when it comes to parliamentary standards, this is another shocker. So what standards can we expect from our politicians? These are the sort of standards here that Andrew Laming himself espouses.
Well, wherever there's a governing body, they have to, the matter lies in their lap, obviously. But certainly while there is a substantiated allegation and serious evidence that's going to be before the courts, you can't say it's too much to play, but feel free to fraternise and train. It's either one or the other. The club either says we have significant concerns and we're standing the player down, or they don't, they stand behind the player, whether they're right or wrong. But I find the no playing but feel free to train policy, rub shoulders with the team and the club, but you can't run on the field. I don't think most Australians are going to accept that. You've got to be far stronger and say, if there's a substantiated allegation, for goodness sake, the police are assessing the matter and there's a brief being prepared, that should be good enough to suspend their involvement in the sport until it's settled. Of course, you can get, malevolent and mischievous accusations, but that's very, very different to a substantiated case that's under police investigation. At that point, you can't continue to reward potential perpetrators. You've just got to be frank about that.
There you have it. We have a governing body here that should stand a member aside, according to Andrew Laming, if there are substantive allegations made against him, which the police are looking into. There's another governing body that needs looking into, and that is the Commonwealth Government of Australia, the ultimate governing body in this country, which has failed its people, its electors, so badly with scandal after scandal. When was the last person to actually pay the ultimate price? No one has lost their jobs. You can be accused of rape, sexual harassment, constant misuse of public funds. You can take Rolex watches from Chinese property developers, rack up thousands, $40,000 home internet bill. You can Photoshop documents. You can pay $80 million for water that's worth nothing that ends up in the Cayman Islands. You can even be paid as a lobbyist while you're an MP. You don't have to answer FOI requests. You can prosecute whistleblowers in secret courts. And if you get caught, what's the penalty? Is it empathy training? Or do you just say, I'm sorry if somebody else was hurt by my actions?
We are deeply sorry. We're sorry.
Despite all these rorts, this disgraceful governance, unlike the UK and Canada, for instance, Australia has no binding parliamentary code of conduct. It's effectively carte blanche. What few standards we have, if any, were laid out by Scott Morrison in 2018. Ministers must accept that it is for the Prime Minister to decide whether and when a minister should stand aside, if that minister becomes the subject of an official investigation of alleged illegal or improper conduct. So Scott Morrison, it's his responsibility under this very flimsy ministerial code of conduct to make the call. It's the PM's call. But what did he say when questioned about this by Mark Riley?
But if you were to say that today, now, he'd be gone. But he's not going to be. In any other workplace in Australia, he would be. So isn't the reality that you can't afford to lose Andrew Laming because he's a number, and if you lose his number, you lose control of the House of Reps?
He's not running as a mark, he's not putting himself forward for re-election within the Liberal Party. He is committed to undertake the behavioural change he needs to undertake. And that's what he needs to do. And he needs to come back with a completely different attitude and a completely different behaviour. He was elected to this place by the people in his electorate. That's who he was elected by. And he was elected to serve here for 3 years, Mark. He was elected to serve here for 3 years in this parliamentary term. And that's what he intends to do and continue to serve the people in his electorate. And I'm following the very same approach that other governments have followed in the past. Thanks very much.
He said, "You guys voted for him. I don't hold the voting card, mate." The fundamental point here is that, by his own account, by his own standards, that Andrew Laming expects a higher standard of behaviour and better accountability mechanisms for 24-year-old rugby league players behaving badly than 50-year-old politicians elected by the people of Australia.
What about if we take that out to politics? Should politicians be tested? A one-strike rule applied as well?
Well, we've already introduced testing. We've had a number of companies come down and offer testing, and obviously only those that approached were tested. But I don't think anyone should have any fear of testing.
That's a pretty easy system, isn't it, Andrew?
It
I think
is.
if you don't want to get tested...
Well, of course, we don't have a legislated system, but we brought the testing down and tried to demystify it a little bit. But keep in mind also that the drug testers will tell you that while you can't make assumptions that in a workplace there'll be a certain number of positives, it's a number between 5 and 10%. An average white-collar working population will potentially be positive for both, serious reasons and accidental reasons, but positives are possible. And when you look at age, the odds of finding someone over 50 are going to be far less likely than those under 50. So they'll be obviously stratifying their sample and identifying at-risk groups. One would argue that politicians over 50 are probably not going to be a key area of concern.
Now, it's fair to say that everybody is guilty at some point of bad behaviour. Bad behaviour is a given. It happens. It's the way that you handle it. And it's having the right mechanisms in place to deal with it. If there is no federal ICAC, there is no anti-corruption commission, there is no independent judicial mechanism to watch over the absolute torrent of corruption going on in federal politics and poor behaviour, it's like the kids in the playground when the teacher isn't there at lunchtime to look after them. Corruption is now entrenched in this culture because there is no mechanism for accountability. And that's why we need a federal ICAC. We've just published a story on the e-safety bill that's going through Parliament. It gives the Commissioner, it gives the government extraordinary new powers. It increases the state of surveillance that we're already living under at the moment. The question is, do you really want to be giving extra powers to these guys who can't even manage the power that they have with integrity? Is it really a good thing to deliver this sort of power to a government that's prosecuting whistleblowers, people that have done the right thing, in secret trials? It's a paradox that Andrew Laming has already begun to delete all his social media posts, or a lot of his social media posts. And here's a government proposing a new online safety bill which will increase the state of surveillance in Australia. The government might not be allowing you to have privacy, allowing us to have privacy, but Andrew Laming is now requesting privacy. So now he's admitted that he's taken the photograph in question, the photograph complained of, but he's claiming that it was completely dignified, even though it was allegedly taken from behind without the victim's consent. Dr. Laming, you were elected as the Minister for Bowman, not the Minister for Pornhub. Like this video if you'd like to see a federal anti-corruption commission, a federal ICAC. Winter's coming. Canberra is super cold in winter. So when you're thinking about your next rort, Why don't you keep nice and snug in the Slush winter collection? Why don't you keep nice and snug with a Slush hoodie?